Welcome to the Waves of Change podcast, where we aim to inspire the listener to awaken to their purpose and take the action required to live life on their own terms. My name is Darragh, confidence and mindset coach, speaker, entrepreneur, and humanitarian. I will be sitting down with creators from all walks of life who grew through the waves of change in their lives to be making the impact in the world they are today. I just want to acknowledge the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation as the traditional custodians of the country we are speaking on today. We recognise their continued connection to the land and waters and thank them for protecting this coastline and its ecosystems since time began. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging and extend that respect to all First Nations people who may listen today.
Feels good.
Tahlia.
Friend.
How are you? What's going on? Can you let us in on what younger life for Tahlia was like growing up?
Growing up, wow, it feels like a long time ago, and I feel like I'm not the same human being as I was when I was a little girl. And that little girl, when I look back to her, I'm just like, oh, I just want to hug you and love you. And like, you only knew you were doing the best with the knowledge that you had. And I'm so proud of the woman that I am today. My growing up was incredible. That's what I think of. There's a lot of light and a lot of darkness. And I now see the darkness as all the gifts that I get to, have learned through, that I get to pass on knowledge and wisdom to the women that I work with. And growing up, my mum, she's Ukrainian. She migrated here when she was 4 with her 6 brothers and sisters. And my grandma, who passed away last year, she was 98. And it was an absolute legacy to our family of, what she sacrificed in order for a better life for her and us ahead. And gratitude was always a massive thing in my family growing up. And it was as simple as like, you must eat all the food on your plate or you're ungrateful. So it had some negative connotations as well attached to the gratitude, but also really good ones in that we never took anything for granted. And we truly, every little thing from walking in the front door, and, if I didn't have a smile on my face, my dad would be like, why aren't you smiling? You should be grateful. You don't know how good your life is. Sometimes I'm like to Sam, my husband, I'm like, why aren't you smiling? Do you know how good your life is? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like my dad.
Hilarious.
Yeah, so life was pretty freaking epic growing up. The lifestyle that my parents set myself and my sister up for is one that we are forever thankful for. And there was a lot of tough love along the journey, which definitely on the road to becoming a parent myself, I questioned back to that polarity of like tough love and like how that's going to program, my family ahead, which would be really interesting because I see it as something that I'm really grateful for, the pain that I went through and the relationship I had with my parents. My dad and I were very close growing up. My dad, he worked the typical 9 to 5 for a really long time until he took a risk, which at that time, I remember mum and dad saying life's going to be a little bit hard for a while. And my dad decided to work for one of his best friends and work 2 days a week driving trucks. And it was the best thing that ever happened in our family because it was the moment I remember fully embodying this relationship with my dad. And it made me realize that I don't want to work 9 to 5 because I want to have a relationship with my kids. And before then, I didn't really know him and life was hard for mum and it got a lot easier. And I think that kind of created this foundation for my work ahead as well. And also, the way that we don't have to live this life that's so 9 to 5 and boxed. And it's just interesting that from that pathway, part of my journey was becoming a teacher like my mum. And I had to learn the hard way, which was the good way, that wasn't the way for me. And my role was in deconditioning from that generational pattern, which I see play out for many of my clients, where they take on the role of one of their parents and then have to work out, actually, I'm not super happy, so I'm going to go on a different journey. So in a nutshell, I guess my upbringing has created a foundation for every step ahead, and it's really made me realize that every pain we go through has a purpose.
Yes, yes.
Blessing to see the darkness and the light in the journey of my upbringing, and how that has really paved the pathway forward for not just me, but all the women that I work with.
So much good stuff here. Really, how it all interweaves or interconnects. All the way back to, you know, your grandmother, and just want to honor her presence right now as well, and say thank you on behalf of myself and all of your clients and all of your future clients and everybody that you impact every day. And again, Tahlia is one of the most energetic and beautiful souls that I have ever had the presence of working with. So, but you know, just the you know, about the smile. So I just want to tie it into how the cycles of our upbringing play out in our adult life. And as little as your father saying, you know, you should smile because his grandmother told him that he should smile. And then you carried that over to your husband and said, you know, you should smile. And what I'm highlighting here for the listener is to recognize that this is how patterns are passed down through the family. And to also recognize, as beautiful as it was, you know, but it's also, you know, it can be perceived as a dominant, you know, you should do this because, you know, because you're not living this life or X, Y, and Z. And then also with your dad as well, making the decision to choose to live or to work 2 days in the van because he gets to spend time with you. And again, straight away, you're like, although you didn't know at the time, but your soul knew, and you connected into that. Well, if he can do that, I can do that. And again, how his decisions are passed down the family tree. And can you speak more about the importance of choosing what is best for you and your life? Yeah, in your day to day, and also how, you know, you were, what age were you when your dad done that, by the way?
Sorry, what did you say?
What age were you when your dad quit his job or took up the van driving?
It was like that transition between primary school, high school. Actually, no, it was in primary school. I want to say 13.
Roughly. Yeah. So just again, like how his decision and how you understood that. So again, can you speak about the importance of choosing what feels good for you now?
This is a no-brainer. Oh my goodness, it's the legacy of my brand. It's the legacy of me as a human being, which is passed on from my dad. And that's the thing I want to recognize, is that he really set me up into this way of soulshine living from a young age. And that's more of my upbringing coming through. But I will never, ever forget the moment where a client came in. I was, at the time, I was a personal trainer. I had my own business running, and I trained only women. And I had this client come to me, and she was like, oh, I'll be happy when I'm on the holiday. And I'm like, when's your holiday? And she's like, oh, I'm going to Europe. And I'm like, when are you going? She's like, in a year. I was just like, you're going to be happy in a year? And I had this whole vision flash going in my mind that was like, how long are you going for? 2 weeks. Okay, so in a year, you're going to be happy for 2 weeks, when in the first week, you're going to be like tired a little bit from like the hustle of getting there.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have cocktails by the pool and stuff, and you might be having a good time, but then the week after, you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm full of all the things that I probably don't want to put in my body that make me feel a deficit of some kind of sort, and an energetic reverberation. And then you're going to come home and wait for the next holiday in 2 years' time. So I asked the next client the same question, and the same pattern, and the next one and the next one. And then I kind of reflected on my own personal journey of this "I'll be happy when" statement, and decided that it's a very conditioned way of thinking. That is, I will be happy when I have worked so hard and pushed myself so hard that I now feel so deserving because I've worked so hard and I'm so tired. So why do we really need to get into this state where we feel so much pain that we allow ourselves pleasure? Why can't we have this equilibrium in our life where, you know, we feel like every day we're living life like we're on a health retreat, which is my legacy of life, and allow this flow into our life? And this comes back and ties back to my childhood in, I was always asking mum and dad, like, why can't we go to Europe like all the other kids? Like, I thought we were poor, but we weren't poor. We were brought up in a way that we were camping every weekend, and we were doing like little trips around Australia all the time. And our holiday legacy was a week by week, month by month thing.
Yes.
Brought up like going to music festivals in Byron Bay with mum and dad, and like all these fun, cool things. Yet in the back of my mind and my sister, we were like, oh, but why can't we go to Europe like all the cool kids? And it took later for us to fully understand the foundation of what our parents really laid for us in understanding ego and soul and the importance of life. And this has played out a massive role in my company and training women to decondition from this 9-to-5 lifestyle into what does your soul and your body truly desire. Let's tap into that and let's see if we can create more of that in your day to day.
Tahlia, so much juice here. And again, I want to celebrate your dad for the rock star that he is. I actually grew my hair to copy off him.
I know.
My mom gave me curls so I could copy off your father. So there's so much goodness here. And would you believe I'm writing a book at the minute? Well, it's complete. It's now complete. And
congrats.
You know, thank you very much. So it's huge. Like, I mean, I couldn't use a computer a few years ago, and that was part of me stepping into my. Cause I used to work on in construction on a building site, but you know, I done the maths. That's the very start of my book. Is, you know, we are fed this illusion that you work hard, and for 4 weeks, and for the reward for your working hard, you get 4 weeks off each year. But because some of them weeks are already blocked out for like Easter and bank holidays, so you're actually left with 2 weeks. So this system gives you, according to the system, you're only allowed to choose what you want to do for 2 weeks of the year. So I went and done the maths, right? This is insane.
My heart is hurting right now. My whole soul is like breaking for all the people that just don't understand that life can be better, but they don't know until they experience it.
Exactly. But this is about the fuck your fucking whole shit up. So I went and I was telling Sarah, and I done the maths. I decided to go, right, I started my apprenticeship when I was 15, right? So according to the new retirement laws, I think it's 70. So I go, right, there's 55 years between 15 and 70, and that's when you're supposed to live happily ever after. So I done the maths. I go, right, if I was to take, being generous, give him 4 weeks each year for actually choosing to live my life, how many years do you think that over 55 years it adds up to?
How many?
4.6.
And that doesn't include all the time people are numbing and biasing, right? As well as a part of that process.
That's 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's pretty sad. That's pretty sad. But some people will never experience that other way until they choose.
Yeah, and I have to be honest. I took it out of the book. I put it in there, and I thought it was a big fucking stark. What the fuck? I thought it might be too big for. You know, I didn't want to hurt people. The idea is not to hurt people, when helping them step into their power and realize there's another way. So I actually took it out. I thought it was a bit too daunting when I read it on the page. But yeah, how insane is that? You know, you 55 years of your life, but you choose for four, and that's excluding weekends. But for 4.5 weeks or 4 weeks of the year, which again, because of Christmas and Easter, you only actually get two. So that's 4.5 years, and that's like if I cut that in half because you only get two, that's 2 years. That's 2 years and 2.25 years. So 2 years and 3 months.
Saying that, I'm really seeing the pattern between the foundations that the generations before us lay in terms of cutting this time frame down. So I'm 30 now, and I know that my dad took that leap around the age of 50. And we could think about my grandma before then really making a sacrifice, and she lived a life in Australia for I don't know how many, 40 to 50 years of her life, but before then was very tough and hard, as well as being in Australia and trading chickens for eggs for 20 years at least of her life and my mom's. And now we're so blessed that I'm just like, oh, I can do what I want today. I have this choice because I chose that. And my kids, they're just going to be like free little spirits, probably like naked running around the backyard, just like, oh, we just get to manifest, and it just drops in my hand. And I'm like, Sam, all this hard work we're doing, and our kids are just going to be living their best life, but they're going to be our teachers for this next evolution. And I think those generational maps are so potent in understanding if we want to speed up the process for ourselves and for generations ahead to make those big leaps.
So good, so good. Bodhi, with me and Saoirse are having a bit of a thing because the kids are free around the house and no nappy and all of that, and we have carpet, and when you go to the toilet and you clean it up, but eventually, yourself, if you have a dog and it goes to the toilet on the carpet, it smells. I'm like, sorry, that. But yeah, I 100% agree. And just for the listener to understand, when we speak about, the healing journey getting lower and lower. So I don't know what age your gran was, but then your dad was 50. Now you're I'm going to come to that question actually, but this is what we mean when we say we're breaking the generational cycles of doing things because this is the way it's always been done. And the gift of presence and choice, I believe, is the best gift we can give to our children. So they wake up today and decide what they're going to do. That's on the heart. So coming back to you, Tahlia, I'm sure, did you enter entrepreneurship straight away when you went into the professional world? At what stage did your journey begin of deciding this is what I'm going to do because it lights my soul on fire?
As a Gemini and as a manifesting generator, there's a lot of different parts of me and always has been. And taking on the mannerisms of my mum and my grandma beforehand, I really believed for so long of my life that I needed to work really hard and I needed to push myself and I needed to sacrifice myself in order to get anywhere in life. So I did that. I went to uni for 5 years, and at the same time, something else was pulling me in another direction, yet that imposter syndrome was coming in. So I did what many people have done, and I was at uni for 5 years, and I was also doing my personal training degree, and I was also coaching kids at school, and I was also doing 7 different jobs, and people were like, how is she doing that? And a lot of different things unfolded, but I believe that if we don't choose the path will choose, take us on that path.
Yeah.
A little bit harder, and we might hurt ourselves in the process. So I became very addicted to caffeine and pre-workouts, to be super specific. That was how I did that. That was how I really learned about adrenal function and how to heal my mind and my body. And I had to go through that deep pain in order to understand that I'm not here to just push harder and drive myself further. I'm actually here to really pull back and do one thing and get excited by that every single day. And so as I've evolved on that spiritual journey and pathway, more and more old parts of me are really shining out. And I'm just like, I feel so sorry for you. You were hurting so deeply and you had no idea what you were doing. You were just trying to, like, you know, get through life and be a part of this, like, running from a bare status that you've been programmed and conditioned into because the generations before you went through war, and you know, now trying to apply these same principles in a modern day world where you have so much choice and freedom, yet there's a part of you that feels like you must be pushing still. So of course you look for stimulus that was going to help you do that. And that's been an amazing part of my journey. I allowed the uni degree, I finished, and I actually became a school teacher, but I did relief work for 3 years. But of course I did full-time relief work while I had my personal training business, and that really hurt me. So my day was essentially get up at 4 a.m., go to the personal training studio from 5 until 7:30 a.m., go to my relief school from 8 until 3:30, get back to the personal training studio from 4 to 8 p.m., and then go home to my family and be on my laptop doing admin until, I don't know, 10 o'clock, whatever, to hide. That was my numbing and vicing, was being on my laptop, hiding from other parts of my life I didn't want to deal with, and then get up and do it again, which taught me about energy mastery as well, and mastering the mind to master the body and to get to where I wanted to go in my life, because I didn't feel good. I didn't feel like I fit in. And I was trying to find myself along that process. But at the same time, I was running a scarcity program of holding on to everything while I was collecting more pieces. And so I had to learn to let something go. And that was my uni degree. That was the first thing. And it was the most scary thing.
Wow.
But on the day that I did that, my partner, Sam, my partner at the time, who's now my husband of 13 years, the day that I let go of that degree was the day that he got a full-time contract. And so it's just really interesting the way the universe always has your back. And that was the sign I needed at the time. I don't need such big signs now of security in other ways, but I was just like, oh, this is interesting that this has happened in this aligned timing. Like the same day I close the door, another one opens.
Yes. Yeah, so beautiful. And quickly, which we know that to be one door. It's a cliche saying, isn't it? When one door closes, another one opens. But what I want to really focus on here is what it felt like for you. You know, going through that wave of change in your life. It's the podcast, the waves of change. But deciding to tell us about that. How are you feeling emotionally, and what was going on mentally, and why did you choose to let it go, and then all of the external, like, you know, how did your family receive, like, what exactly did you do to let it go? How did that all unfold, and how did you feel about it?
It was a radical decision of knowing that I'm not okay, and then really pulling myself out of the position of who I am, and having this broad perspective, and gathering the data from my clients who I was also seeing weren't okay, you know, living that lifestyle, and then seeing, you know, multiple people around me that were doing what I was doing and weren't happy. And that was enough of a validation for me to go, if I keep doing this, what's the outcome? The outcome is that in 20 years, like, I'm maybe dead because I've killed myself because I'm not happy, and I'm actually depressed, and I've actually got a lot of mental health issues going on that I need to confront. And the only thing I'm not doing is following my full body yes, because I'm scared and I don't have any proof on the other side that I'm going to succeed. So I learned, and I was like, well, what do I have to lose? Nothing. I have nothing to lose. Okay. So I decided to take a risk and see where it would take me. And that risk provided an amazing outcome. So then I decided that, you know, the more I feel fear, the more opportunity is on the other side waiting for me to witness through curiosity, the eyes of a child.
Yes.
I keep doing that and playing life to my advantage of following the flow, following the fun, following the full body yes. And if fear comes in, that is more of an indication that I'm on the right path. because fear is this, false evidence appearing real. It's this illusion keeping us in a third dimensional thought pattern. And where we're all merging through in humanity right now is to more fifth dimensional consciousness, which is oneness, which is love, which is interconnectedness. And if we follow that, the outcomes are so exceptional. So if we tie that all back to money, it's like, whoa, if I'm fearing this, yet if I believe in this greater outcome, why am I tying all of this to this feeling that it's all going to go away? Or where does that come from? It comes from, my grandma who came here with nothing. So of course, when she got her first dollar, she's like, oh my God, I need to look after this. It's going to go away because it's been taken from me that many times and so much else. So we learn from these patterns and we evolve through them. And I think this lesson that we're all learning right now is to not tie our self-worth to financial outcomes or our bank account, and to also not tie our self-worth to what we do, because our identity is shifting so rapidly. And we have this radical invitation to let go, create space, intend what we want, and fully step into that presence by letting go of other things in the process.
Oh my God, so much wisdom, so much deep wisdom. And again, I celebrate you for because I got to witness when we worked together, I got to witness how you process things and allow the energy. And what I want to focus on here is huge as well: false evident fear, false evidence appearing real, and allowing that to be your your lights, you're on the right path, your breadcrumb, for instance, I'm moving through it. But what I want to ask, is what was it like from, when you told your family that you were giving up your degree?
Why would you do that? Why? I remember part of my pathway was we'd just been to Blues Festival in Byron Bay, mum and dad.
I love it.
Amazing school, like holiday in the school holidays. And of course, I'd just come in from a surf. I was journaling. I was really I would draw all the time. And I was like, I just want to be an artist. And I brought it back to my dad at a time that I felt really courageous. And I was like, Dad, I think I want to be an artist. And he was like, why would you do that? You won't make money and you'll lose the passion from it. And it took me about 10 years later to really reflect on that and go, wow, I became an artist of my life. I didn't follow through on that because my dad planted inside me that I wouldn't succeed. Yet in the end, I became an art teacher and a PE teacher. And then now what I do is I'm actually a teacher of shine and create a life of your design, which is just really interesting to reflect upon in terms of when you tell someone something, if you can fully embody the yes yourself first, then it's going to be a lot easier for you. But at the time where I said, hey, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to let go of teaching, they of course were like, what's your backup plan? What if everything goes wrong? Hold on to your certification at least. And when that certification renewal came around after 1 year, I was like, I'm not doing it. Because I'm declaring to the universe radically, I'm not going back. And a lot of people and clients that I'd worked with had really been holding on to things. And I got to see that didn't serve them. And they had this leaky energy to their dreams because they didn't cut the ties fully behind them. And that has been so good in seeing you create for that next, I'm going to call it like a ladder or a map where you get to navigate through on your soul's journey to coming home to the person you love.
That's just incredible. And again, just to highlight for people, what I've had 3 different clients in the last, say, 3 weeks, come, they're in the space, they've said yes, but their other people's fears have talked them out of doing the work they so desperately want to do. So what I'm highlighting here is for people to Um, be aware of projecting your fear onto other people's lives. Although it may seem like a small conversation, sometimes these words penetrate and last, have long lasting effect. Um, and I also highlight this in a lot of my work. It's like um, our family and friends are the biggest killers of dreams on the planet. Although
Yeah.
they don't do it like from a vicious point. It's just they're them projecting their fears onto others that impacts the other, which is
Yeah, I totally believe that that decision comes from us first, that all relationships are our teacher. And it's our radical responsibility to step out of the victimhood of allowing them to navigate our life and stepping into the powerful creation mode of claiming what we desire, embodying that, then stepping back into tribe with a full embodiment of I am. I am this and I am doing that. Because from that space of embodiment, with whatever choice you make, and, I've chatted to a lot of clients who are like, I want to stop drinking alcohol, but, I'm scared of what people are going to say. And I say to them, when you fully embody that you are at full acceptance of this decision that you are making, they won't even question it. They won't have clunky energy around you at all. They'll just accept all parts of you. So that has been my consistent journey with the leaps that I'm taking so radically, that are so, what feel like left field, yet they're coming home into exactly where I'm meant to be and inviting others along the journey with me. They're actually maybe triggering and mirroring back to others what is possible, which creates fear within them. But my opportunity is to diffuse the fear for them and tell them that it is safe for me to do this, which is reiterating back to my subconscious that I am safe to do this. And so I found that pathway being really powerful in propelling me forwards, is actually meeting their fear wherever their concern is for me with the decisions that I personally make, which feel good for me, and seeing that they feel unsafe because they don't want to do that or don't feel safe to, reiterating to them that it is safe, which is reiterating back to my subconscious that mirror again that I am safe. Does that make sense?
beautiful. Yeah, it makes sense. Just to break it down, what Tahlia is getting at is when you show up and make a decision, a deep rooted, grounded decision, people are going to respect that for what it is, and they may elevate to meet you at that level and mirror that back to you. Or if you come in half-assed about it and you're like, oh, with anxiety or a little bit of fear of judgment from others, that is leaky energy. So if they ask you to come and drink alcohol, if that's what it is for you, more than likely you're going to break because you're not grounded in your decision. Um, is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, totally.
Beautiful. So also you mentioned previously about a manifesting generator. Can you please explain what that is?
Manifesting generators, I believe, can manifest anything they want very quickly when they work with their personal strategy and authority. And interestingly, my partner and I are both manifesting generators. I have a emotional authority, so I have an open throat, and Sam does not have an open throat. He has sacral authority. So when we learnt this together, we've used this in our relationship personally a lot to understand how to communicate with one another. So with an open throat, of course, I'm like, explain that to me. What do you want? What do you desire? And he's like, but that's how he responds. That's his personal code, is someone with that sacral authority actually responds in sounds. So when I learned that, I was like, why am I pushing him to explain more when that's actually who he is? So we were leaking energy in all different areas because of this one conversation thing, which when we learned to use in our personal authority and strategy, we conserved so much more energy for just accepting each other as wholeness. And to little things like, we both know that we have to forward plan a date together because our strategy is to respond, and we can't both respond to the other response. So if I say, oh, do you want to go here? He'll be like, oh, I don't know. Do you want to go there? And I'll be like, but do you want to go there?
Oh, man.
And we're fast movers, right? So we don't just want to do one thing. We want to do multiple things. And so if we've got 5 decisions to make and we haven't planned it out to a T, we are in for an argument city. So our dates now are fully planned out with a lot of obviously free flowing space in there, but we've made the decisions of like where we're staying, where we're eating, maybe an activity we're doing, because if we don't have that, we're just like way too, oh no, but you tell me, and then it just ends up in a fight.
Yeah. I come here. It's like typical. Where do you want to go for food? I don't know. You tell me where you want to go for food. It's like, it causes chaos. And as you were speaking there, I envisioned your wedding,
Yeah.
and how incredible, absolutely incredible that wedding was. Can you explain to the listener that, like, this is just completely dropped in, yeah, how was your wedding?
Amazing. I have this beautiful memory of all the good things and all the bad things. And that's the beauty of the
Weddings
process.
come at that. I'll come with that.
I
Yeah.
think it's a massive up-leveling spiritual journey between a partnership where, whatever you're manifesting ahead in your life together, there is this big scenario playing out where it's going to teach you the lessons you need to take you to your next chapter. So our wedding journey was, we've been together for 13 years and Sam proposed to me, I think it's like 3 or 4 years ago. He had a ring for like 2 years before that in his pocket. We were going to go to Bali and I was living at home still. And basically he'd asked my dad and everything. We went to Bali with 2 of our best friends and he was going to ask me to marry him one night. And my 2 best friends knew that. We went to dinner together. At the dinner, I said, oh, I don't want to get like engaged until we're living together, right? Back in the pocket, the ring went. We went home and my 2 best friends said to Sam, they're like, what happened? And he told them. And my best friend, she was just like, what a bitch. When Sam told me, one, I had no idea, was not in my thought pattern because I'm so disciplined with like, this is what I want and this is what I want to get, that I was literally creating the outcome of like, I don't want to get married until we're living together, until we have a home. And it's funny that I've been hearing my sisters say that, and I might be careful what you say because you don't know, it's always this or better. Okay. But our journey, he ended up proposing, and it was a journey for him in letting go of perfectionism and trusting his soul and following that and letting go of the way he thinks he should do it for me. And in the end, he proposed to me on the top of like a beautiful spot that we go to near a beach and just in nature. And we'd actually jumped into someone else's property, and like it was totally like just the coolest thing ever. After a day. And it was really fun. And then a year later, we went through the wedding journey and parent things, and then wedding getting cancelled because of COVID, and then replanning it again. And it became this really tiring thing that we had to do because we thought we had to. At the very essence of all of it, we both had danced through this stage of like, oh, we just want to elope. And if we did that pre-COVID, like we should have followed that path. But part of us thought we had to do it with all the people around us who we love, or we're going to lose them. And we were able to decondition that thought pattern in the process and really get excited to have like our nearest and dearest with us. And I think a lot of people who've been through the marriage journey will understand, and those going through it now, that it is such a journey of really asking yourself, why are we doing this? And we really sat down multiple times and said, this wedding is our legacy of love. And how do we want that vision to unfold? How do we want to remember our wedding for years to come, and put on, what's important to us? And we created a wedding from that place, and it felt so good.
Wow, like insane. So the wedding, because our wedding was cancelled during COVID as well, and that was a deep lesson of surrender for me, because we were like weeks out, I think we were 6 weeks out and they closed the borders. And it was in Bali, and all our friends and family, which we haven't seen now for 3 full years, because that was the next time we were going to see them. Um, so yeah, and we paid for everything. They wouldn't give us refunds or anything like that. So our wedding is back on now for January in the same place. We were going to do it in Ireland, but it was going into that whole, you know, re-planning a whole new path. And I'm like, and we were sort of doing it for, family. And I was like, this is doesn't feel good right now. So let's just chop that off again and honor what's going on in our bodies. And Bali was the dream. That's the vision that we had, and it's on the beach, and it's in this Art Deco villa place, like, which is incredible. So it was like, let's scrap that and come back to love and why we're actually doing it. So the question for you here is, did you is that the original wedding that you had planned?
Yeah, always was. And it was
Always.
always that vision, and we created that vision, and all the elements of it are what are the foundation of where our relationship grew. And it's like music. So we had the bombonera was little egg shakers, and had like live music and the Ukrainian legacy of my family. We had Ukrainian dances there, and the teepees bring us back to that festival lifestyle and the fun and the flow and the freedom, because we thought we had to be in a winery sitting down doing this with cute little white chairs and stuff, and that just didn't feel good for us. We were just like, no. And we were told by one of the family members, oh, but why do you have those chairs? What are the dimensions? What are this? And the more we sat into these little details that didn't feel good, the more we pulled ourselves out. And Sam and I sat down and we're like, what does feel good for us? Put everyone aside. They're invited to our wedding. They are invited our wedding, and it's a blessing to be invited to any wedding. And what is our legacy? And we're like, pizza, paella, where do we want to get married? We want to be outside. We want our feet on the earth. We want color around us. We want clean elements. And we really brought that vision to life for every little detail. And I think it really played out to the people around us who didn't, some family, they don't know who you are until they wedding, and they're like, wow, this is totally Tahlia and Sam. Like, I didn't even know Tahlia was Ukrainian, and now I'm like, whoa. And that's a big part, obviously, of Sam's life too. And we had little traditions in there where the Ukrainian dancers, they dance and they bring a bread that's blessed from the priest 2 days prior, and there's a whole process and legacy that goes through that, as well as different parts of Sam's family heritage in there as well. And it was so much fun. But to see that vision come to life, it's always this or better. And I think that's the foundation of this conversation here, is the journey was painful, but it was purposeful. And we learned what we needed to along the process. And it was this or better, 100%. We wouldn't have been able to do it in that way a year earlier. And that's what we remember and come back to. And it's like everything we're manifesting is coming true for us, but there are lessons we need to learn on the road for that manifestation to come true. And if we don't understand them, the universe will keep nudging us and hurting us in different ways for us to see that pain is our teacher in getting to where we want to
go. So good. That landed so deeply. And just quickly, we had the same. All of, a lot of people and members of our family were sort of like, why are you getting married in Bali? I'm like, we can you not see? We travel the world. This is what we do. We love the beaches. We love nature. We love being outdoors. And we were teaming our wedding on Burning Man. So there's lots of Burning Man art that was planned for it. And one of the girls asked, could we burn something? I won't tell you what it was or what it is. And like, this is obviously a very fancy property, So they're like, no, you can't. So, but yeah, we're like, I just want to celebrate as well the teepees and the whole festival vibe, and we love that. I was like, seriously, look at this wedding. I was like, look.
I told for our first dance, like there was this full, we created this vision of like, what is the process of a first dance to us? And we thought it was this rite of passage of, you know, man to man, and like me dancing with my dad, and then meanwhile Sam's grabbing a fire twirling stick and we're having our moment, and then he passes me on to Sam, sat me down, and then Sam like did a performance in front of me just for me and him to go like, I'm going to allow myself to shine these parts of me that his family didn't know he fire twirled. And he took a massive risk in going like, I could stuff up here, but I'm going to do this to show no matter what, like self, you know, conflict is going on, if I let this trueness of who I am shine out in front of all these people, that's going to show Tahlia that, you know, I'm going to keep emerging onto who I love to be with you. And I'm going to keep cheering you on in that process as well, because, you know, when you let those parts of you shine out, it can feel really weird, yet really wonderful, but also pass that permission on to others to do the same. And he knew that that was important to me because of the work that I do. And, you know, I just want to see him loving himself more every single day because he's mirroring to me the opportunity to do the same. So our first dance was something I'll never forget, that's for sure. And then, you know, putting that stick down and getting his groomsmen to put the fire out and then around was just like the best feeling ever, while our friends and family have got their egg shakers, and our best man was playing Ocean by John Butler, so he'd practiced that, and all these different parts that were just so magical and intentional, and tears were had like all the way around. It was the best.
Oh, Tahlia, you two are absolute legends. John Butler is my favourite. When we have DMT, we put John Butler on for DMT Ocean, my favourite tune. But I just want to celebrate and invite the listener to focus on how intentionality, how intentional you guys are in absolutely all areas of your life. And something you said there as well about, you know, Sam pushing through the internal battles with himself of, oh, you know, what have I stuff up during this process? But, you know, what if you excel and you light the whole, like, I won't say literally light the room on fire because he was twirling fire sticks, but you know what I mean? Being the permission, being the leader, going first, pushing through that, you know, that uncomfort, but allowing others to do the same. If you stuff up, you stuff up. Everybody gets to elevate together. So celebrating that. So Tahlia, you know, with future generations, and you know, we spoke about the breaking the trauma cycles and the way things have always been done. How do you see the future? Like with you know, was there, I don't know, was there as many people sort of waking up to their own soul's purpose in the past? Or do you see, like I said, the years, let's say your grandmother was this age, your father was like 50 when he decided to work 2 days in a van, and you, like what age were you when you decided to give up your degree? So do you notice that the generation of people choosing what's best for them is getting younger? And also, what do you see as the most important step to accelerate that process? So everybody does what the fuck they want from the soul and the shine that's in their heart.
So interesting, because even through our wedding journey, we had these deep, intentional conversations around, do you think our kids will get married by that generation? Do you think marriage will be a thing? Because it's interesting that there's these scenarios out of our control that are repelling this situation of marriage and making it feel hard. Okay. And so we semi have this belief that maybe, you know, it won't be needed because it didn't feel needed to us. And that was really interesting, was like, oh, we feel like we need to get married because everyone gets married. But, you know, in the end, we decided that was what we wanted to do. but that ahead of us, maybe that cord will get cut and it won't be something that is needed. You know, a lot of women are, you know, with a partner with 3 kids and they're not married and they don't feel the need to, and that's really beautiful. But definitely this generation of change is getting lower in terms of receiving more love and doing more of what makes you feel fun and flow and freedom and expansion and all of the juicy magical things. And I think the invitation is to see fear as your opportunity for transformation into that faster. So if you meet fear today, like you are just, oh my goodness, I can't do this, all up in your head, that is your invitation to drop into your body and drop that idea out that you can't do it out of your system. Grab the self-limiting belief, throw it at the wall, as I tell my clients, and just get back into your body and touch your body and go, actually, like, what do you really need right now? Why don't you feel strong? Why don't you feel empowered? And grow yourself from that space of energy within your system, and all 4 parts of your system being the mental, physical, the emotional, and the spiritual, and growing a safe container in that side. Then when you meet fear, you almost won't be meeting fear. You'll just be like, oh, fear opportunity. It'll be a click and a switch in your mind that is just like, fear opportunity, fear opportunity, fear opportunity. Amazing. Let's go. Let's go. I'm about to receive it faster. And now I just see it as this rocket ship of, well, when do I feel the most success? This is a question I sat with myself in meditation. I'm just like, what is this code to life? It's so skewed. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why do these things happen? I feel the most success when I've overcome challenge, when I've overcome pain, and I've been catapulted in this new direction that I never saw was possible until I took that leap. So success is felt. It's like running the race that you've never run before, and you finish and you cross that line and you feel success because you achieved something, but you never knew what the outcome was until you leant in. And so I think that tying this back to my journey as a personal trainer, I think being an athlete can teach us so much, the athletic mindset around how can we apply that in our life and our business and our relationships and all these other domains of the wheel of life, so that we feel success in all domains, not just 1 or 2. And that our personal code for ascension ahead is actually living in balance and embodying peace and love in every single day, and seeing that we can live our life like a health retreat. It's our choice to lean into that and to intend that and to step in and start making decisions in alignment with that version of us. So we step into her or him so much faster. And that means letting go of fear and seeing fear as an invitation to catapult us forward.
Tahlia, wow, so much wisdom. And it's like what I also learned from that and highlight is it's the same with triggers. Instead of seeing the trigger as whatever, it's relative, it's always relative. But whatever you see it as, instead of continuing to be triggered by certain situations, see what it is. Change your mindset as a light bulb to say, oh, look, here's something that I get to heal right now. Here's something that I get to heal. So instead of being annoyed by the trigger and playing up to what it's causing in your body, say, oh, that's here. Right, why is it here? Now I get to heal. It's just like the universe giving you a pinpoint accuracy of where it needs to be healed first. The same with fear. Also, another way of looking at it is fear shows up most when we are about to have our biggest breakthrough.
Oh, yeah.
Fear shows up most when we're about to have our biggest breakthrough. And to break it down even further, it means, your ego comes online. Oh, no, you won't be able to walk away from that career. And all of the thoughts and the stories and the programs and all of the anxiety builds in your body, telling you all of the things and giving you all of the reasons why you can't do whatever the fear is trying to stop you from doing in that moment. So instead of giving in to the fear, why not break over and have a look and arriving into the feelings of success that Tahlia spoke about. previously. Tahlia, let me ask you for time. What are you for time right now?
Probably got about 10.
You've got 10. Perfect. Um, yeah, so what are you feeling in your body right now? What's going on for you?
For me right now, I don't love sitting down for a long time. I've probably been sitting down for ages. So what I normally do after like an hour is I like pattern break and like move my body. So that's why I just shifted from the other side, because I was
Yeah,
like,
sure.
oh, cool, just move. And now I feel heaps better. But I just wanted to touch on to the end of that conversation in saying that that is why I have always and will always work with a coach, is because I believe we are a product of the top 5 people we spend the most time with. And I cannot lean on consistently my husband, my parents, my best friend, my sister to be my coach in every little area of my life, particularly the ones where you want to jump into a fear hurdle, because they're like, they want to keep you safe. So they want to tell me that I shouldn't do that because they want to keep me safe. But they're also holding me back from where I want to go. And I'm also mirroring to them, hey, I want to do this. And they're like, no, stay safe, because I'm not ready to do that. So let's stay safe together in tribe. Yet if you work with a coach and a mentor, you can be the change maker. And I feel that that is the reason, like, I keep investing in myself in so many different areas, and so does my husband as well, because we're on this journey together where, you know, if we raise our energetic vibration up, we can balance thousands of people around us energetically, just by being happier and healthier. And when people see that you're happier and healthier, they want to know, what are you doing, you know, to do that? And that is the blessing of working with a coach. Yeah, they're going to trigger you. Yeah, they're going to make you feel the fear that you've been feeling for so much longer, but they're going to make you feel it and give you the tools to overcome it. And that's where the real change happens. And they're going to hold you and hold space for you while you're moving through that change. So when your subconscious wants to run back into safety, the coach will catch you, and they'll catch you in your patterns and help you unpattern and decondition from the lines before you. And I think that's a really important mark to make on this conversation around fear, is the opportunity is to step through, but support is needed. And the vulnerable place and courage is always rewarded by the universe when you lean into the discomfort or vulnerability of stepping into areas the way you feel, what I call scared and excited. And so that often means investing in yourself and letting go of the financial ties and the fear with letting go of money. But the more we let go, the more we receive. And so there's all these little different things that play out in so many areas of our life, and it's magical, really.
Yeah, that's incredible, Talia. And you know, I had something on my mind, and then you come in at the last second about money, and it's interesting, you know. It's like some people see more value in a handbag than they do in their personal growth, although they want the personal growth life. They want to live this life, but somehow the program and the conditioning directs them towards the objects over the personal growth. So, you know, two things here. You know, the importance of, you know, letting go in order to receive it all, and money, like, you know, and then for people who are on the fence and don't understand, you know, or have the fear of what if I sign up for a coach, or like, what am I doing? Why would I do it? Can you talk more into that?
Yeah, totally. I think it's so funny on that. This year, I have radically chosen my health and wellness and this diffusion of ego to the next level. And as part of that process, I decided I'm not going to buy any clothes for 6 months, because I know that that's one of my numbings. I know that that's one of my vices, that I will just go and like buy clothes. And it's a pattern that I had to decondition to avoid doing a task in my business, or avoid, you know, confronting something that feels uncomfortable. I'll just be like, oh, I'll go do that. You know, even when the point when I was doing it at the point where the money would come in and I'd spend it on clothes, because that gave me that creative outlet, which actually needed to come through my work. So interesting there. And what I've met from that is my productivity has boosted so much. And my gratitude towards material objects has also grown massively in terms of like, really, I don't really need anything. So beyond needing something, what I'm actually here for, I'm actually here to give my gifts to the world. And that passion is coming through so much stronger now because I've taken away this other part of my ego, and it feels safer to really look at what it was keeping. Sorry, I've looked at how it's kept me safe, and I've stepped over that place.
So good.
Question. I don't know what the question was.
People who are afraid. Now, I got lost in that as well because I now, you know, I will only buy what I need.
Yeah.
If I don't need something, I won't buy it.
It's this mentality that I'm going to lose everything, and that's why I need everything. And
hoarding,
you know,
yeah.
if I don't go to a wedding and I have the newest thing, someone will notice, and then I'll be taken away from tribe because I'm not at the top of the hierarchy, or I'm not the CEO of the company, or I'm not the, you know. There is this whole new way of living, being, and doing from self-embodiment and intention. And those little things and ideas are just our illusion in our mind. Everyone has different ones that they need to confront. And I think it's around giving yourself the time and space to look at that, which a coach will help you do. They'll put the mirror back at you. And I believe any coach you sign on with has different mirrors that, you know, they've embodied something that you need to step into, and they'll guide you and gift you the tools to speed up that process very rapidly.
So good. I did have a question, but I'm going to pivot because something you said here, and the importance of being supported or guided by somebody who's already walked your path or walked the path that you wish to step into.
It's so important. Why wouldn't we do that? Why don't you want to be healthier and happier? Why don't you want to receive more in life? Like, if you're currently not happy, what are you doing about it? If you're currently not happy, you need to step onto another road where you haven't experienced or done something. It needs to be radically different to get a radically different result. And there's points in my life where, you know, I got a coach and I was just like, I'm not happy where I'm at. So, you know, who's going to call me on my bullshit? I don't want that person. Parents. I don't want it to be Sam. You know, I was leaning on him for all this business support, and it was taking away from our connection and relationship intimately and spiritually and physically and emotionally in all the different areas. And when I got a coach, he became my best friend again. And that was
love it.
Of that, you know, delegating an area to go and troubleshoot and be like, hey, I'm not okay in, rather than that be my husband or, you know, your parents and family. And now I can be that person, that cheerleader for them. But even energetic exchange with my background in Reiki, Seisham, Lords of Karma release work and things like that, I really don't see myself as, you know, if I'm giving, it's taking away from me where I used to. And I learned a lot of lessons through that process of giving and receiving energy, so that most amazing coaches will really give so much to you because they know they're also giving that reiteration back to themselves as well every single time. And the energy exchange is so pure and potent.
Beautiful. Tahlia, thank you very much. Two last questions. The first is, where can all of these wonderful women of the world find you?
Amazing. You guys can find me over at Fit Tahlia Pretty, FITTAHLIA. Pretty is my last name. It's not a joke. Instagram, and over at the soulshinelivingschool.com, which is where all of my online courses and programs that I've written from, guiding hundreds and hundreds of women through the Soulshine retreats journey, where they can unlock their gifts and soul codes. So we've now got an online learning school because of and things like that, but people really want to access this next part of understanding, like, why am I here? What am I here for? How do I get healthier and happier? How do I understand money energetics and emotional weight loss and things like that, and emotional cleansing rituals and beautiful processes all inside there. And as well as that, I run a program called Transmission, which is a 4-month coaching accelerator, so that we can get your vision and goals actually happening in this lifetime, your next one. Don't cycle of life to find that out. And as well as that, health retreats for those that are in South Australia. So yeah.
Beautiful, incredible. And just as you said, what can happen in 4 months? What's the potential of, or what has been the results of your clients working with you for transmission, your 4-month signature program?
So many clients that fill in their vision and goals form at the start of the process, and there's no off limits with me. Like, honestly, the sky is the limits, which is, we don't even know where it ends. So let's go there. And within a month, they're achieving their goals. So I'm sending them another vision and goals form to go again. It's a space of stretching your container physically as well as visionarily into what you're pulling down into your physical reality. So the results are phenomenal for women in business, women who don't even have a business yet. They don't feel fulfilled in their current workplace and want to really understand what they're here for. I guide them to unlock their gifts and their wisdom. And as a big part of this, relationship conversations come in around healing generational trauma, healing the relationship with your body and food and exercise and all these parts of us, so that we can fully step into every day and love the intentional process of living.
Beautiful. And last but not least, what does the waves of change mean to you?
Love. In the waves of change means this opportunity to just receive more love and ride the wave with ebb and flow, and just melt into maybe the discomfort at times of the uncontrollable yet expansive opportunity for us to just witness through the eyes of the curious child what is next ahead for us, because we don't know what's over that wave.
Yes. Tahlia, thank you. So much love. It's been an honor to have you on as a guest. I'm really excited for everybody that gets to listen to this episode.
Thank you so much. Sending you so much love. You're a legend.
You too. Big love to Sage and the young puppies and Sam.
Thank you. Yes. Thanks so much, Darragh. Appreciate you. And yeah, this has been awesome. Such a beautiful conversation. Could chat to you forever.
Oh, I know. I feel the same. You get to the vet and look after your dog and the puppies, and we will connect real soon.
Sounds
Have a lovely day.
Mwah. Lots of love.
Bye. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. If anything resonated for you, please leave a comment below. If there's anyone who may need to hear, please share. I love yous. Have a lovely day.